I think it's hard to ignore the minutes thing, but I think when you know that you're going to be playing a certain amount of minutes, I think that provides a level of comfort that you normally don't get when you're coming off the bench, right? So, most cases in most games, he's probably going to get 15, maybe 20 minutes a game, but that could be altered due to how hot Ja Morant is, if he gets hurt, if there's a blowout, if it's a close game, whatever the case may be. Versus if he's starting, he's essentially, he's going to get those minutes. He's going to get to 35, 36, 37 minutes a night. And so I think that provides the level of comfort, not even just in the game, but like during the game or before the game, really. You just kind of know, I'm going to attack the game this way, whether that's I'm going to get my players going first, or whether I'm going to get my points first. Again, that goes back to, again, whether you're starting or whether you're coming off the bench. Because when you're coming off the bench, more times than not, it's you going to try to get your minutes, or not necessarily your minutes, but your buckets. You trying to get your field goal attempts up. And so with him starting, I think he gets to pick and choose which one he wants to do, and depending on the game of the floor, depending on who he's playing with or playing against, I think that again that plays a factor into it. So. Like I said, it's hard to ignore the minutes, but I just think when you're going to get X amount of minutes, that allows you to attack the game from a multitude of perspectives. So I think that's what it is too. I think he also, I'm not sure if he was kind of hurt or something like that. Earlier in the season, whatever the case may be. I think his wife also had a baby recently, and not to say that was part of the reason why he was struggling, but sometimes this mean when your wife ain't good, you ain't good. And not necessarily, I don't know, what happened with the baby or did not happen. I'm pretty sure the baby was healthy. But again, when your wife is pregnant, you ain't all the way there mentally, because you're trying to make sure that her and the baby is okay too. So I think both of those things, now that that she's had the baby, now that he's starting, I think that's what's helped him play much better as of late.
And
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Oh, go ahead,
I
Shark.
would say to piggyback off that point real quick, Fred Van leading the playoffs when Toronto won championship. Same came went after the child was born. All of a sudden, he was like super cold in the finals.
Yeah. Well, I would echo the sentiments with what Scott said, but instead of the word minutes, I'm gonna replace it with shot attempts. I mean, anytime where your star player is gonna be out and he's averaging around close to 20, that 20 for Ja is probably an extra 4 or 5 for the rest of the cast that's out there. So this gives Tyus somewhat of a green light to kind of be aggressive while still playing in his role as being the floor general here for the Grizzlies, which is why you see why his scoring is nearly doubled when he's starting as opposed to him coming off the bench. Um, but yeah, to Skylar's point about everything that may have been bothering him with the season, everything that's going on personally with his wife, and then of course their new addition to the family. But yeah, I just honestly think it's just more so just more shot attempts to go around for everybody, and everybody's happy when they get a chance to shoot the ball more clearly. So yeah, I would just test Tyus's recent play with him being in the starting lineup, but just him being able, having the green light to not only still be the floor general we asked him to be when he's coming off the bench, but he has the capability to look for his shot as well without so much as a hold up or like a pause or anything like that.
Yeah, I might get shot down by Grizzlies Twitter for my next set of comments. So Grizzlies Twitter is going to turn me off, please, and thank you. Tyus Jones is doing what needs to be done as a starter. And people are going to, again, not like me for this, but he's putting up his stock. And when the offseason comes around, I mean, we didn't do much. We got Luke 316 during the trade time. And I mean, who wouldn't like a player like Tyus Jones, who's had one of the better averages, not in terms of points per game, but just to Trevor's point, just being efficient as not only just a ball handler, but a facilitator as well. And we can probably get that closer that Tuca's been talking about for so long that we need because we don't have really too many other tradable pieces. But as of right now, what Tyus is doing what needs to be done for us to, first of all, be in contention to be a top 3 seed in the West, which is phenomenal and much needed because I don't think a lot of people gave us, the ability to do it. Even though we had a lead, over the Kings and over the Clippers. Still, I don't, we just kind of look like we're about to limp into the playoffs. And I don't think we're limping as much with Tyus and Dylan. But then I look at the end of the season, and once we get there, championship or not, how do we get better next season besides saying, oh, Ja can play so many games, Triple J is going to start the season. Okay, I get that. All that stuff. We got Luke starting, whatever. It don't matter. But if we can possibly trade Tyus and somebody else for a closer that Tuka discussed or someone else, and then start developing Kenny Chandler some more, because we talk about development all the time, Grizzlies Twitter. So, I mean, when are you going to start developing him? And getting this $14 million kind of plus off the books and getting someone that can come in here and say, hey, listen, I'm about to score with Ja. Ja, I'm good. I got this at the last 2 minutes of the game. I got us. And I think that is the angle I want to take for Tyus Jones. I'm not discrediting what he's doing. I love it. I absolutely love it. But if it's one thing for me that everybody knows, trade him while the value is hot, because we didn't trade Dylan Brooks.
All right, question.
Answer.
Okay, so I agree with you wholeheartedly with the whole incident with Kennedy Chandler. So until, I guess, let's just say it takes a minute on Kennedy Chandler, what are your backup point guard options for the Grizzlies right now? So you're just gonna shift Desmond Bane over and just have him try to run the offense?
I mean, he's
proven a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven it. Not even with Ja out, but even during the summer league, he was able to run the offense through him. And so, yeah, I mean, give him a chance. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it comes with getting a closer, then yeah, I'm going.
Okay,
yeah, I'm going.
Right. I don't think you're probably with half of Grizz Twitter there. I wouldn't necessarily say all of Grizz Twitter. I think half of Grizz Twitter is kind of on your boat. So you don't have to. They don't have to shut you off.
I appreciate it. I'll take the coin flip right there.
All right.
So Tyus Jones is an NBA starter for probably more than half of the NBA teams. Then definitely debatable. And I think that, to your point, Sheedy, of trading him while he's hot, I think his hot season, questionably could have been last season, and he could have went to a team, per you say, that can help a championship team or whatever. But he decided to stay with us. He decided to stay with us knowing that he's going to be backing up for Ja. And when Ja go out, it's going to be my show. And I think he's comfortable in doing that and filling that role that, he can come in and do whatever is needed to win. Tyus Jones, like I said, is an NBA starter. He's putting up great numbers. But it's just a consistency matter that I have to say, going forward. And what I think that can help the Grizzlies is that when Ja Morant does come back, I like your question of who's coming after, because I would love to see Tyus and Ja Morant close the game out together. That's what you got the lineup of them two, Bane, Dylan, and Jaren Jackson at the 5. That can close some games out. If Taylor Jenkins can find a way to have those two at the end a lot more than they're not, I think that we can be a lot better going forward, because we see what Tyus is. Let him shine. But at the same time, when Ja comes back, it's kind of like taking a playbook out of the Cavaliers lineup when you got Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Although this is their first year playing together, they're playing great together. They feed off each other. If you got a hot night, boom, I'm going to keep feeding you. If don't, we're going to get everybody else involved, and we're going to win this game. I think going forward, we need to see more Ja and Tyus lineups than we don't, because they're efficient together.
So no endorsement for Luke Kennard, who's been shooting the skin off the ball.
Yeah, no. You have him off the bench, though. You know what I'm saying? And that's
I get it, but I'm saying like the close of game. You saying the close of game? You talking about having Tyus and Ja out there with Bane, Dylan, and Jaren.
Here's the thing, Trevor, because you got we go by the commandment of, if somebody shows you who they are, you got to believe them. At the end of the game, it's not going to be find Luke Kennard. It's going to be Ja get to the paint. And I'm saying, if we can kind of stop that.
Let me ask you this. So if you're okay, so let me ask you this. If it's Ja get to the paint and everyone collapses, who do you feel more comfortable kicking it out to, Luke Kennard or Tyus Jones?
I feel more comfortable with doing Luke Kennard, but at the same time, I would love for that play to be a thing. But I'm saying is, I would rather Tyus set up Luke Kennard or Desmond Bane or somebody, rather than we know that Ja's going to get to the paint. Is he going to actually pass it out? It's yet to be determined, to be honest.
That's a question that's posed for Taylor Jenkins and Ja. Like, to be honest with you, I would much rather have Desmond Bane and Luke Kennard spacing the floor. So if you collapse on Ja when he's getting to the paint, bam, you have two capable shooters there. And let's not discount Jaren, who may somehow be in the corner, who could knock down the corner three as well. So,
But
I
based
mean,
off of
I
what
like
we've
your
seen,
idea
how many
because
times
Ja
Ja
and
passed it, dribbling and passed out.
yeah,
And
I
that's
like your
normal.
idea
That's
because
normal.
Ja and Tyus can play well together. I just don't like the idea of them two closing the game. Like I need as much shooting on the floor as possible, closing the game. Unfortunately, with Dylan, he's your best defender. You got to have him out there for defense.
Unfortunately.
So, I mean, I say it unfortunately. Hey, that's the grind, son. I'm gonna call it like I see it. So, but you ain't no, there's no such thing as too much shooting nowadays in the NBA. So,